Gaudete, Christus est natus.
The crowd's going absolutely wild. They've got one to jump, and it's Desert he comes to take it. And he jumped it brilliantly. This was his race. Desert Orchid, what history being made. Roll to the applause.
A horse of tremendous talent, of dogged resolution. What a complete racehorse he is. Kauto Star wins his fourth King George VI.
Huge festive warm welcome to the Bastards Inquiry Christmas podcast with all the best bets for the Christmas fair coming up at Kempton, Leopardstown, Chepstow on the Welsh National Day, except with no crowd because Mr. Drakeford won't let anybody in. Idiot. But yes, joining me today are Mr. John Lang. Hello, John.
My belly's already jingling.
Excellent. We love a jingling bell. Andy Richmond. Welcome, Andy.
Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time you're listening.
Due to go out Christmas Eve.
Happy Christmas to you all.
Absolutely. And joining us shortly will be Quentin Franks also, because we know the demand for his ludicrously 220% return on investment. You all should be heavily involved now with Bitcoin and buying a new house on the back of Quentin's amazing form since joining the Bar Stewards. So that's all to come. Without further ado, let's get on with the show, because obviously there's quite a bit to go through. And we'll go through the best bets for each pundit. And Andy, I'm going to come to you to kick the show off in fantastic style with your third best bet over the Christmas period.
Right. I'm going to go to Market Raisin.
We don't mind. I don't mind Market Raisin.
Everyone will be delighted about it. You can't beat a bit of regional Nash, can you?
Absolutely.
Christmas. I mean, how many of these I'm going to go through and count out how many nationals there are now. There is only, of course, one national, but we do love a bit of regional Nash. And in the end, I'm going to have to play a bit of a bottler here, because I'm going to have to try and split half point each way, which is a bit of a bottler there. But they are a couple of decent price horses.
Yeah.
The first is Powerstown Park, who I thought won as though he could go round again at Hereford last time out. Beating a horse I actually put up on here, and Velasco I thought was quite decent. But Powerstown Park was in fine form last year when he reeled off a hat-trick in handicap hurdles, and he looks about ready to do the same again. Now, he's been stuffed up £10 for annihilating a reasonable field last time out, and to be honest with you, he looked the better he went. Cliche time, the better he went, the further he went, the better he looked in this time. And if you watch the end of the race at Hereford, he won like his head in his chest. And I think this test will suit him. And I think he's a decent horse for the grade. So he's one that I would want to keep on side in this. And the other one is the Late Legend, who is a real dyed-in-the-wool stayer from a trainer, I think our good friend Mr. Malvo mentioned on a previous programme. I have just noticed a tweet from Mr. Malvo, if I would digress slightly a minute. He's defaced your advert for our programme here, because he said it'll be shit without me.
John usually says that.
Well, not wrong, easy.
I probably agree with him, actually. Going back to that, I think he spoke about a trainer called Tom Weston, and he has been known for pulling off a few decent punts in his time, and I think he's got another one here, the Late Legend, who ran a very good second last time out at Exeter off today's mark. And I was quite surprised they didn't actually put him up. He's still up 112, which is his last winning mark. He's 5 from 13 over fences with 4 seconds. Gets on well with the amateur Luke Scott, who's ridden him before. And it was over 3.6 last time out. Track might be a little bit tight for him, but I think those two are a couple of sporting pokes against the field. In the Lincolnshire National, I can never resist a regional Nash. I think we've got one just straight into the new year as well. I think we've got the Sussex National at Plumpton coming up as well in the new year. But I thought I'm going to split a little bit of a small stake between Powerstown Park for Bridget Andrews and Sam Thomas, and the Late Legend with Mr. Luke Scott and Tom Weston.
Okay, so you're going half a point win on each, Andy?
I think so.
So 11-2 Powerstown and 9-1 for the late legend.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Or Andy.
And on to Quentin Franks, who is our Naps table leader at the moment, 220% profit. Incredible strike rate, really. It really is. And I hope our punters are following Quentin during this time and through December, November. He's had an amazing run. So, Quentin, welcome to the show.
Well, perfectly. Thank you for the kind words. Hopefully it can continue over the festive period and we can be drinking gin and eating Dutch Gouda throughout the new year.
Perfectly put. Yeah. Okay, right. Without further ado, no more waffling from myself, John, Andy and Quentin. We'll get straight on to the best bet of the weekend or Boxing Day or wherever you are playing your trades.
My third best bet on Boxing Day comes in the 6 furlong condition stakes, 3 o'clock at Wolverhampton. And I want to have on side Judicial. He's 9 years old, touching 10. But he chased home the best all-weather sprinter in good effort last time out. Weak in the market that day on the back of a break, and just he shaped like all his enthusiasm for the game was still there. Dropped in from a wide draw, he travelled well, short of room on the home bend and could never really open up until the bird had flown. As I said at the top, his enthusiasm remains for the game. He stopped the clock in a fair figure. I think the smaller field here will help him, and there looks to be a bit of pace signed on with Lord of the Lodge dropped in trip and Ejab, they pressed things forward to make it an honest clip. I think the market's underestimated him. I see he's been put in 9-2 with a couple of firms, and he looks the overpriced one in a race where I don't particularly like Lord of the Lodge back in trip. He had the run of things at Newcastle last time out, and Exalted Angel has it to prove for me. A couple of ropey-ish second places. So, Judicial looks solid, and 9-2 looks overs.
Lovely, yeah. That interesting conditions race that Quentin's put his third best bet in. Judicial he's going for Julie Camacho and Paul Mulrennan in the saddle at 9-2 available for his, I presume it's 1 point win, Quentin, obviously.
No 1 point win, yeah.
Yes, no mess, straight on the nose with your selections. But that's what our punters like. They love you at the moment, and no messing about with this money back for second and third. So Judicial for Quentin is his third best bet of Boxing Day.
I'll go with my third best bet of the festive period, and I'm off to rainy and wet Limerick for mine, and it goes in their feature event on Boxing Day. That's the 4 Novices Chase, a Grade 1 affair, a fabulous race, really. It's a real nice race, this is, and I'm very keen on a horse that impressed me greatly last time, Lieutenant Command. This was a very, very impressive chasing debut. I love the way that the horse jumped. I really did think that when something looks a natural, this is it. And the shape he made over his fences, it was effortless, real big grey. And I was impressed at the fact that the standard of the opposition he managed to beat first time over fences, and the way he did it, he literally had to have one little tap on the running just to keep, obviously quicken up there. And he had so much in hand, and the heavier ground I think will suit. I think because he is a bit of a sluggard rather than an impressive turn of foot horse, and I just think this horse is going places. So Lieutenant Command is my third best bet of the festive period at a very juicy 8-1, and I'm on the nose with this because, like I say, I do really like this horse. Should not be 8-1; it's an insult. I probably have him around half those odds as around of a true price. So Lieutenant Command for me to hopefully get me off to a flyer to catch the ludicrously ridiculous Quentin Franks at the top of the table. John, I'm going to come to you for your third best bet, please, of the festive.
Well, there wasn't enough racing on Boxing Day for me to whale out 3 horses. I've actually gone to Kempton on Monday. The horse in question is one I've put up before, and it ran, well, on what the face of it was a fairly iffy sort of race, really. It's Man of the Mountain, Emma Lavella's horse in the 3:10 at Kempton.
Okay.
I reviewed his last effort at Cheltenham a couple of times, and I came to the conclusion that he was just doing half a stride too much early on. And I think that's what told on him in the latter stage. I think going back to 3 mile, I think this is going to be much more his bag. I think the fact that she went for a decent race at that trip last time probably indicated she thinks that horse has improved a bit and probably shown her a bit more speed at home. And I think this getting back up in trip could just be the making of the horse. So his jumping's fine, and I think he could, ridden the same way as he was at Cheltenham, I think he could get a lot of these at it, and I think he's quite a bit of value, actually.
Yeah, Kempton's a great... I mean, Man of the Mountain jumps really well, and Kempton's the right sort of track for this kind of horse that keeps rolling. I can't knock that, John. Like you say, they obviously think a bit about the horse with the target that they had last time, and this would be probably a step back in the right direction in terms of class compared to that race. So John is going. Are you going 1 point win, John?
I am, yeah.
1 point win, Man of the Mountain, 8-1 is available for John's selection, and hopefully that'll get John off to a flyer for the festive period. Andy, I'm coming back to you now for your second best bet, please.
Right, like John, there wasn't enough choice on Boxing Day, was there? It's poor, isn't it? Really, you think they'd stick a couple more meetings on. Welsh National, but I thought Venetia can't resist a bit of Venetia, a bit like John can't really, and Hold That Taut, whose form tied in really well with the now absent anti-post favourite, who is not who ain't running anymore. Asked me early, and I must admit I did back Hold That Taut at a double figure price, but I still think there's a bit of value at around 8-1 with the 4 places that are available. Venetia is excellent with staying handicap chases. We saw that when she won the Ladbrokes Trophy. She's got plenty of previous in the Welsh National, Jock's Cross in 2000, Emperor's Choice 2014. It's a sort of big local race. In fact, if you want a little bit of a stat, any stables based in that Hereford, Wales region have won it 7 times this century. Hold That Taut, I should say. Has only had 4 runs in novice handicap chases last season. He had 1 run this campaign, one up at Carlisle, another good hunting ground for Venetia. And I still think he's got plenty of improvement to come. He's only a 6-year-old, and I still think there's a bit of there's a lot of improvement in him. He was strong at the finish. I just think, and if we get a bit of soft, heavy ground, that will suit him down to the ground. And I think at around 8-1 with 4 places available, he is pretty much a fairly decent play.
Okie dokie, yeah. I mean, check around, folks, on that. So Andy's second best bet is Hold That Taut at 8-1, generally available. I can see, and
you might get some generous people going 5, 6,
yes,
7 places on the day. You might need to take a little bit shorter, but I do think he's genuinely got a pretty decent chance. If you go back and watch that Carlisle race, and it wasn't a bad race at all. He should be just about cherry ripe. And as I say, Venetia's got plenty of previous in staying chases. So I'll have a point each way at around 8. So I'll take the 4 places for ease of transaction now.
Good stuff. So Hold That Taut for Andy. Each way a pleasure. 1 point each way. We'll take a look at the each way terms for him on that one and see where we're cooking by the time of release of the show. Pity it's going to be a soulless Chepstow, which is it's sacrilege really for the Welsh. It's their big jump race of the season.
You can go to the supermarket and be packed in like sardines, but you can't go in a big field.
It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, if this race was taking place in Bristol, which is 30 miles away, it'd be no problem. It's an absolute scandal. Anyway,
no offences.
To Hereford.
There won't be no offences. No, there won't. John, I'm going to come. No, I'll do the second best bet because I'm on your team. There ain't enough racing on Boxing Day, so my second best bet is on the 27th, which is the day after, and we go to Ireland. again at Leopardstown, where there's going to be a lot of rain forecast in Ireland, and that's what I'm banking on, because I don't think you'll get this price when it finally sinks in that the rain has fallen. The horse in question I like this horse going forwards this season. It's Kauto Beach in the 255 at Leopardstown. That's the feature handicap chase there. And a very valuable race, incredible prize money put on there. 200,000 and 110,000 to the winner. There'll be few races this season you're getting 110,000 for winning a handicap. So this will be very competitive, no doubt. But we're getting the odds to compensate. 33 to 1 available for this horse, who clearly is, for me, a heavy ground monster. I think that's where he's excelling, heavy ground. And even though it's sort of good to yielding at the moment, the amount of rain that is forecast in Dublin over the next couple of days is quite immense. So I'm hoping that transpires, because, as I say, you won't get 33 to 1 on the day if the ground is riding sort of very soft about Kauto Beach, because I think that's crucial to him. I did back him last time, much to my mistake, on good ground at Fairyhouse, because he was dropping quite a bit in class. I think the jockey looked after him that day. He's in really good order, because he jumped his fence lovely, just didn't have any gears to cope with the quicker horses. And I just genuinely believe that this horse is a different class of horse on bottomless ground over an absolute sluggard. And I just think, ideally there'd be probably a quarter of a mile, half a mile on top of the 3 miles. But nevertheless, they're taking 7 off with the useful amateur, Mr. James. And I've not had much chance to look at him, but the 2 rides I did watch him, he looks very strong for his £7, as a lot of Irish amateurs tend to. They do produce the cream of the crop, and as I said, the jockey doesn't put me off at all. So that, for me, that's a nice 7 they're taking off there to take it down to a very 11-3, and this horse will jump off, go handy, and hopefully stay there. So Kauto Beach is a 1 point each way bet at 33 to 1 for the 255 at Leopardstown on Monday.
Quentin, I'll come to you again for your second best bet of the meeting, please.
My second best bet comes in the opener, the nursery at Wolverhampton. I thought Neat and Dandy should be odds on 8 to 11 in and around that mark. I can see them putting them in 6 to 4 each of 2, 13 to 8, 7 to 4. Him and Tarja Lola. I was really impressed with him last time out. I felt the race over 7 on his first start for Mark Lottname wasn't run to suit. They steadied things up mid-race. He got caught, tapped the toe 2.5 out. I think he did well to run down the Hannon horse, who got first run on him. He was under pressure 2.5 out. He ran him down. The step up in trip's going to suit him here. It was his first all-weather start. I think he'll improve significantly for the trip. Already gone in the race, looks exposed. He's a keen going sort, and kind of what John mentioned earlier in the year, I can see him running away with Holly Doyle. Lightning Gesture hasn't really done it on the clock. Tarja Lola, the main market rival, likely main market rival. I felt he'd been poorly handicapped on runs in steadily run races earlier in the season, and again well positioned in a steadily run race. Couldn't get the better of his stablemate last time out. I see Neat and Dandy's 13 to 8 in a couple of places. I thought he should be a fair odds on poke, and I expect him to take the world a beating, to be honest.
Lovely. I mean, did you like Magical Diaz last time? I'm not sure if you. I can't remember if you sort of half liked it or.
I did. I like the race as a whole. You had Pile Drivers, half sister or brother in there. It looked the race full of interest. It looked like there was interesting types in there. Yeah, I think it's a race that will produce winners in future. So.
Yeah, the first 2 there pull clear as well. So Quentin's second best bet of the festive period is Neat and Dandy for Mark Loughnane. 13 to 8 available, so that will be his 2 point win stake. So lovely there, Quentin. Thank you very much for that.
John, coming to you for your number 2. Is yours next Wednesday, John?
No, it's not actually. Believe it or not, I've managed to route one out on Boxing Day.
Good.
Not quite at Meyrick, it's at Wetherby, and it's in the Rowland Meyrick. I had a fair old trial for this race, and The one I was originally taken with was Windsor Avenue, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shocker. But I did think that the seasonal debut was quite all right with the Plunkett horse going on to Frank the Farm at Liverpool. And I think Brian might just have sorted this one out, and there's still time for it to make progress as a chaser. But the one I ended up rowing in with is, and I'm not sure how you say this, is it DeBeachy or DBC?
I've always said DeBeachy, but...
Yeah, I would have said DeBeachy, like. But, like, second run for Skelton from Tim Vaughan's and had a wind up in the summer. I think it's quite significant that it's running in something like this first time up.
I'll tell you what, John. I remember this. This was Sandown when it last ran. And Skelton went bananas on it. Do you remember? Mm. He went absolutely. He was about 20. He just powered, and I just didn't get it. I thought, why do you need to be sort of 20 clear down the back?
It gave me the impression that since they got it from Tim Vaughan's, he had a lot of confidence in the horse.
Well, yeah.
And I think
it wouldn't be the best judge of pace, would he, Harry?
Well,
no, he wouldn't. No, it's no.
No. Well, hopefully he'll get a nice lead to the second last day, and then he can do what the hell he wants after that. But yeah, I think it's very interesting off this mark, and I don't think it's a great Rowland Meyrick either.
No, obviously you've got the Hennessy winner in Cloudy Glen, but that's up 10.
Yeah,
it's quite high.
That should stop him, really, shouldn't it?
You think so, and usually with Hennessy winners, you don't usually tend to see many turning out this side of Christmas. No. I know Remastered came out. By the way, Andy, your Remastered I thought was unlucky in that race in the Hennessy.
Oh, don't. I'd ever know.
I know.
Still, I think he would have gagged up.
Yeah.
I still thought he ran a very good race at Haydock straight after that as well. I thought, again, cliche time, he lost nothing in defeat there at all. I still like the horse. I think he'd probably be a decent. I think he'd stay a bit further. I think he wouldn't be the worst horse to run in a national.
No. Anyway,
he would have. I'm convinced he would have absolutely gagged up. I mean, it's the first mistake he'd made in the race.
Yeah,
that fourth last is at Newbury. They've just come off that bend and they're just starting to get rocking and rolling. You've seen a lot of horses make mistakes and go there, and it was a little bit of a sickener that.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me that one. And you are right about DBC or whatever we want to say. Yeah, he did. He actually went bombed off. It was the 13th of March. It was straight after. Cheltenham last year, off the back of wind surgery in the first run for Skelton's. He'd been at Tim Vaughan's, where he'd always threatened to be a really decent horse. This one.
Formerly rated 141 for Tim Vaughan as well, John.
Yeah, 141 he ran at Aintree.
I think there's a lot to like about his chance here. I know.
Yeah, do you know what? I think you've got one there. I think, I've confessed, looking at the Rowland Meyrick, I mean, it didn't look it looks it's
winnable, isn't it?
It is. It's a competitive affair, but I'm not looking at any horse. And then you've just sort of highlighted that one to me, remembering that one from Sandown.
If there's one in there that you could see at the end of the season, £15 higher than where it is now, it's that, isn't it?
Yeah. So, are we on the nose with this?
No, each way.
Each way.
Fanny's bet.
A Fanny bet from John, one each way, 13-2 is available.
Just in case Skelton gets the fractions wrong.
Exactly.
He gets nutted.
Yeah, no, to DeBeachy, I think John's come with a decent bet there. Kind of like his reasonings. Okay, we'll come on to our best bets. I'll wheel it the other way. I'll leave Andy till last on this one. I'll leave Andy sat silent on his hands, waiting to get his big bet out. Seeing he's highest up in the naps. I'll go first with the big bet, and it shows you how desperate I am. That I am. It is a Boxing Day bet. However, it's in a bumper. and why not? The horse in question is in the 3:32 at Huntingdon. I'm so desperate to get up the table that I'm tipping in a bumper now. Not the most excited, but Supreme Gift in the 3:32 Huntingdon. Henry Daly's runner. Now, I had a big mark for this off a good contact of mine before the run last time at Southwell. And I did feel that Alice Stevens was kind of, I mean, I'm not against like female jockeys. I just felt that she's possibly a little bit outridden on this occasion by the John Joe O'Neill runner. And I just felt that was the difference on the day. I think Supreme Gift would have won with probably a more awake ride tactically. So Alice Stevens, no disrespect to you, but I just felt on the day you probably should have won that. And given the regard he's held in, obviously these races you can run into things. Fergal O'Brien's got a debut on. John Joe O'Neill's got a debut on. I don't particularly like either of them on breeding. And I do think that this Supreme Gift, who has won a point-to-point in Ireland for Dennis Paul Murphy, given the confidence shown and the way this went through the race, I do expect this horse to go very close. If one beats it, then it's a very, very good horse, I think. I think this is a real decent bumper performer. So Supreme Gift for me is my best 3-point nap in the 3:32 at Huntingdon on Boxing Day. John, coming to you for your nap.
I'm at Leopardstown in the 1:45.
Okay.
And this is a long-standing favourite novice hurdler of mine called Three Stripe Life of BFGs. I really, really liked this horse in the bumper last year. I thought for an inexperienced horse, I thought he ran an absolute ripper of a race. He did everything you would have wanted to say on his debut over hurdles. And as I say, I think he's better than he was allowed to show in that bumper. He's still, compared to some in this field, he's still a little bit on the inexperienced side. But he's probably my idea of a proper Supreme Novices candidate at this stage. And I think the price is tremendous value on Monday.
So it's 6 to 1 available. So Monday 1:45 Leopardstown.
Yeah.
3 Stripe Life. Very impressive. Last time I can remember the race. Obviously, very, very well bet. 2 to 13. Certainly went off a short price, but obviously impressive to match. So 6 to 1, big price.
I'm going to go each way because of the nature of the race and the shape of the race, and it just lends itself, I think, to a big each way bet, which is what I'll actually be having.
Okay, so 2 places, 6 runners, so 1 point each way, 3 Stripe Life, 6 to 1 for John. Sorry, 1.5 points each way.
Yes.
His best bet. So that's for John.
Onwards to Quentin's best bet of the week. Now, drum roll here. This is our Naps table leader. I keep stressing it. This Quentin is an absolutely brilliant judge, and we're honoured to have him on the show. So, Quentin, everyone's waiting with bated breath now for your number one.
No pressure then, Lee. My best bet of Boxing Day comes in the last race of Boxing Day, the 5:20 at Wolverhampton, and I want onside one trained by a podcast favourite in David Simcock.
Ah, for fuck's sake!
Hey.
The horse in question is Race Card. He's a horse that's been in my notes since he made a promising debut at Yarmouth earlier in the year. I liked him as a physical type. He's the type to really progress from 3 to 4. He made a decent debut. He made a move from rear and kind of blew up 1.5 from home. Shaped as if the run would bring him on, and that's fine. He then didn't reappear until October. Simcock dropped out, steady run race, ended up 5 deep around the home bend, finished with running left. So it looked, he was in the market that day, which was surprising, but he shaped with ability, less to say the least. similar story kind of last time out. We're steadily run race, found all sorts of trouble under Hayley Turner, finished with running left, and had more to give at the line. Physically looks a lot better animal than 64. He's related to a few fair sorts, including Al Kazim. He got the chicken wing treatment last time out and the kid glove treatment. I think there's a lot more to come from him at some stage. I'm hoping it'll be Boxing Day, given the Yard and Connections won this in 2019 with, I think it was Clap Your Hands. So I'm hoping this has been a target, given he's been gelded, and he's got more upside than some of these here. So hoping we don't get Simcocked, and Callum Shepherd, who's got a good record for the Yard, can bring him home.
And what a bet! I mean, so this is a really unexposed one that Quentin's going for here, and 9-1 is available. Quentin, are you happy with the full 3 points, the full bodied bet here? 3 points on the nose.
3 points on the nose, please, Lee.
We love this. And the interesting thing here, this is again, Quentin's found a really unexposed sort of 170,000. This cost us a yearling. It's like I say, half brother to Al Kazim. It's geez, and good old Dave Simcock's got it off a mark in the 60s. You think you're paying 170,000 for a horse, and you end up in the 60s. But this could be a very interesting choice and very well dug out, Quentin.
Same colours as Eltham Place that owes me about £65,000 by now. Hold up horse is Simcock round here, and yet Quentin can get these fuckers to win. You know, I mean, he should be Father Christmas, really, because like 6 billion houses in one night is fuck all. He can get Simcock hold up horses to win.
Absolutely, a big price there for Quentin for sure. So onwards and upwards. Thank you for that, Quentin, and hopefully it will be everyone in clover for Boxing Day. So thank you. I hear Quentin now. Quentin's about to leave us now because basically myself, John, and Andy will be going through the TV action. Quentin's got some festive duties to attend to, so we thank you, Quentin, for posting your best bets, and our punters appreciate it. So a Merry Christmas to you, sir, and I hope
Merry Christmas to you, Lee, and all the podcast listeners as well.
Thank you very much, sir, and we shall speak to you soon on our forthcoming shows. Thank you very much, Quentin.
To finish off, last but not least, I'm coming to you, Andy, for your best bet of the festive period.
I thought we might be able to ring the bell in the 210 at Wetherby, the Rowland Meyrick. I was sitting listening to John, but I think we have avoided that, although I did have DBC down as my second best in the race, and I will be having a saver on it, and so it's given me a little bit of extra confidence in John's resume of the horse there. But I do like Empire Steel in this race. There's 2 past winners in this race. Topville Ben, who won it in 2019, and Lakeview Lad in 2018. I do like old Lakeview Lad, but he's not getting any younger. Neither is Topville Ben. I think taking risks, and Lord de Menil might be flying a little bit high here. Windsor Avenue's never a horse I've particularly liked. Good Boy Bobby I've always seen as a bit overrated. Silver Mark's Hallmark's a little bit short, and Cloudy Glen, I did think, well, it is unusual to see, although we have seen a couple, the first, well, we will see the first in Cloudy Glen from the Hennessy, I still call it that, running. I think the £10 might just stop him, and I'm going back to Empire Steel. I think this is a really nice lightly raced 7-year-old. Now, I know Protectorat probably wasn't at his best when Empire Steel hammered him, and he did hammer him at Kelso in a 3-horse race last year. But when you think what Protectorat has done since then, and Empire Steel was actually only getting £4 off him, he beat him 40 odd lengths. Protectorat, of course, since then has won the Manifesto at Aintree, second in a Paddy Power, and then won the Many Clouds. A lot of people said that Protectorat didn't stay at Kelso. Well, given the way he won the Many Clouds, it's hard to say that day. And Empire Steel came out and ran a very, very good second this year behind Strictly a Dancer, who was in fine form at the time. The handicap has put him up just £1 for chasing that one home. I think he was stripped fitter. Sandy Thompson is in reasonable form at the moment. He's really his time of year. I think the horse has got plenty of improvement left in him, and it looks a winnable race, which is where I was trying to sort of filter it down. And the two I filtered it down to and tossed up were DBC and Empire Steel, but I came down the side of Empire Steel in the end because of the form with Protectorat. And I think there's some 11-2 available with 4 places. So I think I'd probably go 1.5 each way on Empire Steel in the 210 at Wetherby to Rowland Meyrick on Boxing Day.
Good stuff. So 1.5 each way. Andy's best bet, Empire Steel, 13-2. Good tip from Andy for his best bet. We'll discuss the television races in question, and I'm surprised. I've got this right, that there are only 4 on terrestrial TV. Is that correct?
4 from Kempton, Rowland Meyrick from Wetherby,
and 1 from Wetherby. Okay, yeah. We'll take a look at them then. I suppose overall I'm a little bit disappointed. Kempton card. I'm not saying that George looks a nice race. It does. It looks a very competitive. But we'll start off anyway with the 120, which is the 2.5 miles handicap. Andy, I'll start off with you. Any thoughts in this race for you? Any opinion?
Not a race I wanted to get heavily involved with. I thought Bothwell Bridge won nicely first time out, didn't he? It looks as though Mr. Henderson, who apparently is running Shishkin on the. I've just noticed this. It's just come up. He's actually an intended runner in the Ladbrokes Desert Orchid Chase at Kempton on Monday, so he must have him 100%.
Yes, or either that or he's taking his main market rivals rate 127.
something like that. But he does look to have this race by the proverbials, doesn't he? With Mr. Coffee and Bothwell Bridge. I quite like Bothwell Bridge. He's still pretty unexposed, although we have got the old Stonehands Nico de Boinville on board.
Yeah.
Look, I felt really sorry for Sebastopol last time out, although I can't say I'm. There's a question now. Do people trainers who make stupid comments like Tom Lacey did, who then retracted, does it put you off backing their horses?
You just think you have expletives in your head, don't you? When you Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, Sebastopol is just literally.
If you think somebody's a fucking idiot, you're gonna be a bit circumspect about backing their asses, aren't you?
Well, it was the comments about the Brian League that I just thought, case, whatever you want to call it, but it was just, his blog was just like, what the fuck? Had you had a bottle of whiskey first, or?
Well, he's not as good as me. I've got the Lagavulin today. I mean,
you're not going to go and write a blog like that.
No, not after it. No, I'll just do a podcast instead. But
you just sat there and thought, WTF?
Yeah, the comments on and he had to swiftly take it down.
Oh, and on Gay as well.
Gay was
to the show, and you've had on a couple of games, and excellent, brilliant stuff. And
yeah, I mean, she'd probably not appreciate me saying this, but she did message me, and she was rather upset about it. So I presume that Gay had a little word in Mr. Lacey's ear.
I would be frightened.
Yeah. It's one of these. Does Tom really want to show up at the races and Gay rolls up? I mean, But anyway, yeah, it's like you said, Andy. The first race on the television, I found very difficult. I backed Bothwell Bridge last time. I think there's a hole in him because he was looking a little bit in trouble despite jumping very well. Marla's promise sort of had him in a spot, and I don't think that's amazing form. So I'm a bit concerned about him.
Of the Henderson 2 at the prices, I probably preferred Mr. Coffee.
Yes, but again, what was that after the last at Newbury? A real bad hanging left.
Yeah. There wasn't anything that stood out in this whatsoever.
I
Those
agree.
sort of races, I thought, I'm happy to watch it, but if I was, if somebody gave me a $5, I'd probably put it in my pocket.
Yeah, and the Tizard Snout's been on. The Tizard Snout.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Dreadful human being. But I mean, he's come on and he said that Lost in Translation did his final piece of work the other day, went to Larkhill for a racecourse gallop. Brendan was happy with him, saying he's quite excited. Come on a ton for Ascot, apparently, so they like him in the King George. And they also like Killer Kane in this one. Wouldn't be for me. I don't like Killer Kane. I thought it was fetid off the bridle at Exeter. Absolutely fetid. And I think that's how I sum this race up. It's full of fetid... I can't really... I agree with you, Andy. Mr. Coffee probably at the prices, but I was disappointed how he did hang at Newbury last time on the running. I didn't like that at all. I thought, where are you going? Hanging left like that.
I thought if I was swayed to Mr. Coffee, it'd be the jockey booking, Sean Bowen, who's still incredibly underrated. I really do think this lad is very, very good, and I know he gets his fair share of rides, but I still think he should get more. He's a terrific horseman. Really, really is, and strong in a finish. I mean, he's a far better jockey than a lot of people not give him credit for. But the number of rides he gets a lot of the time, he's very, very good.
Yeah, no, can't agree more. John, any thoughts to finish that race?
I just like Mr. Coffee with Bournemouth the second term. I think he'll serve a bit, give him a run in a more professional manner. He was still a bit keen on the Bourne first term. I think now he's had a fail up of him. I think he'll get him put his best foot forward. I couldn't look past Mr. Coffee in this.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you both. At the prices, I would be with Mr. Coffee also. So three of us agreeing anyway on what we do. The 155, the Kauto Star, the old Felton Novices chase. I am absolutely all over Brave Man's Game at the prices. I cannot see Ahoy Senor beating Brave Man's Game around a track like this. Yeah. I absolutely no idea why it's 5-6 and 5-4. To be honest, only reason I'm not tipping it up on Barster is that we're about 4 fences behind Quentin Franks. So we need some Walls Ices.
Hold up soon.
Yeah. I'm not tipping 5-6 shots to our listeners who want some festive cheer. But if you are playing in this race, I want you to tell me a case for Ahoy Senor to beat this, because I can't find one. In the race at Carlisle that Ahoy Senor was in, I think he was beaten against, albeit good horses, Fiddler on the Roof, second in the Hennessy. Pay the Piper. These are seasoned, good horses, good novices. But I mean, you saw what Brave Man's Game did to Pay the Piper. And it's just, it'll get out in front, jumping away, and I can't have it beat. So Brave Man's Game. Are we in agreement there, folks?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Andy, do you see it that way or not?
Yeah. I mean, fair play to Lucinda and the team up there for running Ahoy Senor. I don't think it's the perfect track for him. I do think Ahoy Senor will prove himself to be a very, very good horse. I mean, in time, is this potentially a Gold Cup winner against the King George winner?
Yeah,
in time, and the other two are no mugs either. Kilteely Briggs has made up into a very nice chaser and will win more races, and so will T Clipper. So it's a good quartet that go to post. But Brave Man's Game, track trip should suit him a little bit more, and you wouldn't be surprised to see him in the race that has run 2 races later on the same card next year. But fair play to Lucinda. They're not holding back with the Ahoy Senor. I mean, and neither is old Pumpkinhead. I mean, he does, give Nichols his due. He does run them, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Gets them out there and runs them. It's a decent race. It's a watching race. I wouldn't be piling in 5. I get your argument about the prices and the way they are now. It just wouldn't be for me at the prices particularly. Yeah. A race to watch, enjoy, savour, and two potentially top class horses. And two two horses who could be pretty decent. So watch and enjoy. I always say you don't have to have a bet on a race to enjoy it.
And for those that do like Ahoy Senor, obviously you beat Brave Man's Game in the Sefton, of course, last season in the Sefton Novices Hurdle. I don't think Brave Man's Game was his best, but I just think he's I think he's a stone and a half better over fences. You can see the technique, everything he's got. He's superb over fences. He's a different animal completely to over hurdles, and I think that's the compelling point for me in terms of that. But Hoyes and your fans, you know, I mean, like you say, you have got that to cling on to, that you beat Braveman's Game over hurdles. So an interesting clash in prospect. Certainly only 4 runners, but an interesting race. We go on to the 2:30 and the older, the Christmas hurdle, the mare's allowance debate rumbles on here. £7 in a Grade 1. Not impressed with that in terms of a mare's allowance. I don't think in Grade 1 company a mare should be getting £7. Andy, what do you think on that?
Do you think level weights or a slight allowance?
I would go £3.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I would be in favour of a cut in that weight allowance. Seven is a lot, but then Epitante last time out, I wasn't. I can't say I was impressed.
No.
And I think if you produced a photo again, there might be a few people having a look at that photo again from Newcastle. It wasn't the best. It's another interesting race, isn't it? I mean, I was pleased to see Tritonic come back to his best last week and win. I think he probably is this race a bit of an afterthought or a bit of a punt. I think he's going to be a decent. He is a decent handicap hurdler who needs a race to be run at a true pace and not so sleepy. Could control this off the front. I don't think it will suit Soaring Glory. He strikes me. I mean, we saw that last time out when he was 4th. That race wasn't run to suit either. We could get a rerun between Not So Sleepy and Epitante here. Not an appealing betting race at all. I suppose at the prices, given they dead eated last time out, at the prices, you in theory, you'd be a backer of Not So Sleepy.
Yeah, it's for me, it's a difficult race to get involved in because I'd like to be against Epitante, but obviously, it's got all the cards, the £7 weight allowance, the fact that, like you said, Tritonic could be an afterthought 8 days after, what was impressive, and I do respect Tritonic. I do think that can go quite high over hurdles. I don't think he's finished improving yet.
I think, but I always think he'll be better in a bigger field that goes a strong pace, a la last week at Ascot. Soaring Glory definitely needs we saw that. What was his best form in the Betfair, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And last time out, I mean, that just didn't, small fields, potential, and I will use the word potential slow pace here, just don't think it'll suit him particularly.
No, it's a tactical minefield. Also, keep for Tritonic fans, keep your eyes open as well for the weather, because obviously too much rain, they might even not run him if plenty of rain falls down at Kempton. They are predicting it today, Christmas Day, and into Sunday. So it's not guaranteed, but you know what the weather's like. But there is a high chance that there's going to be some kind of precipitation there. So obviously, if the ground's too soft, I'll be surprised if they run Tritonic. John, thoughts on the Christmas hurdle?
Yeah, I was a little bit in two minds what to do with this race. Initially, I thought I might just stick the kettle on and watch it boil, and then I decided, no, I won't do that. I'll stare at the wallpaper until I see a dead relative's face coming out at me.
Alistair Sims door knock Scrooge style, like
that kind
Bob
of
Marley pops up on the door knock.
Exactly. Yeah. Jangling the chains at me.
Yeah, that's fairly well summed up, to be fair. Probably agree. Me and Andy both agree tactically. I think this is really difficult because, like I said, Not So Sleepy should just have his own way, really, out in front. But
it's a rotten race, and I mean, the rotten standard of hurdlers for a championship, aren't they? So, I mean, just, eat some pate pie for the big gin out.
I just find it incredible that a race so well supported prize money wise, 74,000 a winner, 27,000 for second.
I know.
I mean, why is there not a true champion hurdle prospect in this lineup? I mean, who doesn't want to win 74 grand?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
I mean, literally, if you've got a good genuine 160 hurdler, 155, 160 hurdler that's up and coming, surely you'd take a crack at this. But anyway, that's probably the most disappointing field of the day in terms of standard for the money. We'll move on to the King George, which is a tremendously competitive affair. I think the reason I can't put up a bet is because I think the market's just about right. I'm not a Chantry House fan. Personally, I'm not a Lost in Translation fan. That's on the drift anyway, out to 14s currently.
Snout's been on.
Yes, well, Snout's confident of a big run, but it won't be for me. I just think the top two in the market, Clandes Urbo and Minella Indo, they're probably the right two.
I'd agree.
As I were pricing it, that's. I did my order. I did my running order, and they were the top two. Obviously, Clandes Urbo, different horse under cheek pieces. Last two starts, he's just blown them away. If that continues, sort of in Seymour business style, when they put the blinkers on him, he was a different horse. And it reminds me of that in a way. And then you've got Minella Indo that was fat as a big large beer barrel last time behind Frodon. Last time out at Down Royale, and you just think, you know, if the real Minella Indo shows up again, that's going to be ultra competitive. Andy, I'd love your thoughts on this.
Well, it's certainly an interesting race. I'm a bit like you. I think, you know, the prices are about right. I mean, give you a few facts and figures on it. I think it's probably about the best thing I can do. I mean, Can you find the last seasonal debutant to win a King George? I know these days that probably isn't, you know, with the way we get, or trainers get horses ready at home, etc., and you can make a case for Clandes Urbo, as Mr. Nichols has, with you know, saying that he is best when fresh. I mean, he has got it's absolutely staggering, his record in the race. Since he won it in 1997 with Seymour Business, he's won 50% of the run-ins. He's won it 12 times.
Impressive.
It's a pretty decent record, and he's got a decent team this year, isn't he? With Frodon as well. Obviously, Clandes Urbo is looking to become the fourth horse to win it on at least 3 occasions. Won it 2018 and 2019. Desert Orchid and Kauto obviously won it 4 and 5 times respectively. And if Clandes Urbo is successful, he'd emulate Wayward Lad, who won back-to-back run-ins. Then lost his title the following season before winning it back. I mean, those were the days of, you know, talking of horses like Wayward Lad and, you know, Coombs Ditch and all those sort of wonderful horses. Makes me want to reach for my chasers and hurdlers that I've got sat there, because we really did have some fantastic run-ins in those days. And this is a decent run-in. I suppose with Minella Indo, you've got the question was, does he, you know, first-time headgear, does he take to that? That's a little bit of a question mark. The Clandes Urbo, yes, you can say he has run well when fresh before, but, you know, this is a King George, and you can't find too many of those. You know what you're going to get. You know exactly what you're going to get with Frodon, and, you know, the combination have been fantastic together. He's 3 from 4 around Kempton. That performance at Down Royal last time out. I mean, you couldn't fault the horse's attitude. That was his 3rd Grade 1 win. And then you've got Chantry House. A little bit of the wild card, along with Lost in Translation. And I wouldn't leave, you know, you can't totally leave out Asterion Falange, although he does make a few mistakes, and you're not completely convinced about him at sort of 3 miles stepping up. And Tornado Flyer as well. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see Dashel Drasher or St. Calvados or Mr. Fisher winning that. It's not. Again, it's a bit like the other races we've discussed, and it sounds like I'm going to get splinters on my backside here. But it's just a race I could, like you, Lee. I put them. You know, I always do a tissue for a race. Still do. Always have done. Come from that background, and there's nothing that's out of line. The prices are nothing. There's nothing more than half a point at most away from where I've got them. So where's the edge? And I can't find one. If somebody said to me, who would you like to see win? You know the obvious answer. I'm going to say Frodon for obvious reasons, because it really would stick it up a few people.
Yeah, I mean, well, famously, what I'll do then is to give Frodon some extra length and poundage. I'll say exactly what I said on last year's show, which was to Catherine Fry when she tipped Frodon up as a 25-1 bet. I said absolutely no chance. So I'm going to say Frodon has absolutely no chance. John, anything to add?
If Minella Indo stands up, it beats Frodon 20 length at Kempton.
I believe so.
because that horse was gross on debut. I'm astonished Dracula's putting cheek paces on it, actually.
Dracula.
It looks like Christopher Lee, doesn't it? So, I'm astonished at it, really. I didn't think the horse did a lot wrong, considering the physical condition it was in for debut. So I'm quite surprised there. I think I'd have made it a strong bet, but for the gear going on, because I think he showed in the Gold Cup he's got guts aplenty, he stays really well, and I don't think there's anything not to like about him apart from these bloody mutton chops that's going on.
Well, John, the owner's stated, he says, so Barry Maloney that owns the horse said he was basically, this was the first time we're going to try cheek pieces, and we just felt it might help him focus on a track that's, obviously Kempton, you need to be awake. That's the problem.
But if there's nothing wrong with us, the bloody track will wake him up,
Yeah. I know, but you could say like Clanders Urbo in last year's King George, despite having won it previously, I don't think ever got out of second gear. He set off towards the bike, never got in the race, never got jumping properly. Now, whether they obviously thought that was a bit of maybe sort of laziness does creep into, maybe that's what creeps into these horses.
Yeah,
we've done it so many times. Oh, it's this again. Maybe it's just basically to keep him focused, like the owner says. I don't know, but
I don't think it's been tossing it off.
No, I agree with you. I certainly don't think there's any ungenuine nature about it. Asterion Forlonge, I'd be amazed if that gets round. I mean, it loves to take one about a foot high. There's usually one fence in a race. It just doesn't get off the ground, and you can't do that round there.
I don't think there'll be a fair old pace on it, and Blackmar being Blackmar, I think she'll still just ride her own race. I think you might be able to nick a couple of points in running this.
Yeah. By the way, anyone that's not been on barstewards.co.uk, you've got to check out John's 2022 almanac. He predicts great things for our Rachel Blackmore on there. It's a fantastic read. It will really, sit down with a wee dram and read that, because you'll have a chuckle or two, I promise you. So that's John's almanac for 2022 on barstewards.co.uk. We come to Wetherby to finish the show off, but we've already sort of covered this race anyway. Obviously, Andy's Empire Steel. He's very keen on Big Sandy's chances in that. And John with DeBiche or DBC, which I can't know, whatever. No one cares. Which I also kind of like. So it's quite a competitive affair. We've been through that. We hope we've given you some nice winners, and some. We hope you back plenty of winners tomorrow. We're back on the Friday, which is the New Year's Eve show. So hopefully I'll not be too drunk and be able to host the show. If not, I'll get Andy to do it.
I'm not saying I won't be drunk either.
I'm going to say, so it should be interesting next week. But we do hope you do very well over the Christmas period, and we hope that we can also point you in the direction of some winners if you like our selections. So that's myself, John, Quentin, and Andy wishing all our listeners a very Merry Christmas, and enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy it and have a good one, and back plenty of winners. That's all from us. Bye for now.
Right, the show's over, boys. Thank you very much.